Welcome everybody to the Pop Culture Club. I am here with my brothers, and I am Ultramag7, the Culture Clip King. You can check me out on IG at Ultramag7. I'm known for some hip hop things. I have my brother Keep It Old School, aka my brother Chuck. What's happening, Chuck?
What's happening, everybody? What's happening, Hank?
Yes, sir. And we also have our other co-host, Hollis P. Monroe, who is the music man. But that's my brother, known him for years. And today we are excited because we have Marco Siedelman. I think Hollis, when he gives his introduction, he'll say the name the way it's supposed
I
to
was,
be said
as it's meant to
in
be said.
German. Yeah, but we're going to talk a little bit about a little bit movies and things. But Hollis, if you can give Marco a proper introduction.
Yes. Mark, according to my Deutsch course, my German class, it's Marco Siedelman. Is that close?
That's pretty close. That's pretty close.
I got a little accent.
It's Siedelmann, but it's Americanized in it's Siedelman. So it's pretty good. So
Okay. All right.
thanks. Pleasure to be with you guys.
Nice. It's very nice to have you. I know Marco because I was seeing a young lady at one point in time, and there was a dinner party. What? Is it funny that I date
He
young
said I was
ladies?
seeing a young no. He said I was seeing a young lady at one point in time. He said
At
I
one
was dating a girl. I was dating a girl.
Listen, no, I'm above 50, and this is how you say it. I was seeing a young lady at the time. You know, we were, eating ice cream and walking in the park and that kind of stuff. And the crazy thing is I don't know exactly how it happened, but we went to a music store here in Berlin, and they had this UTFO because she had just got a cassette deck in her. I think her grandma had gave her car or something, and it had a cassette deck in there. So we went and bought some tapes, some cassette tapes, and one of them was UTFO, right? So so we were listening to UTFO, and she was discovering like MF Doom and all of that. Like she didn't have an MF Doom tape, but she started listening to more hip hop. And I think so by the time she had this dinner party where Marco was, maybe this is how we started talking about hip hop. And then I was surprised to find out that
Yeah, well, you were asking me about my favorite record when we were talking about old school hip hop, and I think you probably expected to hear something like the Chronic or 36 Chambers or something like that, and I was like probably Bigger and Deafer by LL Cool J, and then that's when your interest got your interest clicked
That's
in.
when that's when the eyebrows went up. The eyebrows went up. Hey.
I mean that you were like, okay, now I'm listening. So I remember that.
I was listening anyway. And you know what I want to say? I need to commend you, German guys, because it seems like you really, really do know your hip hop, right? American hip hop. Because I was talking to another German guy randomly at a different event, and I asked him about his favorite hip hop artist, and he said, Ride the Crossfade.
Jewel
T
T.
and Dollar Bill.
He said Jewel T and
He
Dollar
said
Bill.
Jewel. Hold on. Let me call time. A German guy, because you get people in. I mean, there's people in Philly right now where they're from who don't know who Jewel T and Dollar Bill is. So a German guy at a party said, "I gotta tell. I know Jewel T. His younger brother is one of my best friends. I have to tell him that a German guy said that it was his favorite. He said it was his favorite rap song was Ride the Crossfade.
Rapper.
Oh, rap. That came out what, 87? Roger Crossfade came out. Untucked you. I was just talking to Juicy's brother yesterday. That is so. Oh wow.
So they just know everything or whatever. And he had all this history. He was telling me, that they apparently that when they pressed the record that they put like fake B-boy records labels on the record, like he wasn't actually on B-boy records, that they so to know all of this, this is why I commend you guys. Like you really know your hip hop and probably a lot of American culture, probably more than a lot of Americans do.
Yeah.
Could be. I mean, for me, I don't claim any expertise in hip hop culture. For me, it's really just as I mentioned earlier, really more scratching the surface. I know some of the mainstream stuff, but I'm not particularly deep into the subject in any way. So I don't claim any expertise. I just think you were surprised that it was an older record than expected. So I think that's
maybe if you had said Mama said knock you out, I'd have been like, all right, man, well, it's nice meeting you.
No, if he had said 14 shots to the dome, you could have just gave him a pound and kept it when it turned around. You said 14 shots to the dome, you'd have been like, who's this guy? I don't know this guy.
Right. Yeah, and that's when we started to talk about pop culture in general and movies we grew up with, and that's obviously American pop culture. It's very important here in Germany as well. So yeah.
Can I don't know if you tell me if it's allowed to ask this question. Were you born? I don't know exactly how old you are, but are you from the East or the West?
I just needed a second. So East Coast or West Coast? No. No, I'm
East Coast, West Coast.
from the west of Germany. Yeah. So,
okay.
But I'm born in '86, so it's not. I don't have any recollection of the time when the country was divided. So yeah, I grew up in a united Germany.
Okay, right. And so the significance of me asking this question, just for people that don't know, is that obviously if you had grown up on the west side of Germany and younger, if you were younger and had grown up on the west side, am I correct in thinking this?
No, in the east.
East Germany.
Yes.
Yeah, those were the a lot of pop culture was restricted over there. But it doesn't really it didn't have an as I said, it didn't have an effect on me. So I started to listening to music and watching films in the early '90s. So that's my these are my oldest memories. So I'm a little bit younger than Breakin to Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. which is what we're here to talk about a little bit about. So you were at the time when I met you, you were writing the book, right? You were writing this book, and if you want to tell us a little bit about the book.
Yes, the book you're referring to is it's a huge career-spanning book about director Sam Firstenberg, and it's not really that I wrote the book. It's more that it's a long-form interview book. You know, it's like 700 pages, huge oral history and a recollection of his career, starting in the early 70s in the very young Israeli film industry, and then up until his last movie in the early 2000s. So the book is not focused on Breakin 2, but Breakin 2 is an important early film in Sam Firstenberg's career. And so the concept of the book is really very simple. It's just him telling his stories of movie making chronologically, and then we added some major guest interviews with actors, cinematographers, editors, producers, all kinds of people that worked with him along the way, or just on one project, but when it was a very let's say significant collaboration, like with Shabadoo and Micheal Chambers. Both are interviewed for the book, and both are represented with kind of extensive conversations, but they just worked for this one time together. So it's a mix of all kind of different voices I could find, so that they create some kind of mosaic piece of history, how it is remembered.
Mm-hmm.
For the better or worse, huh? So that was the approach of the book.
When you were, and I know everybody has a bunch of questions for you. When you were writing the book, were you had you seen all of his movies by the time you started talking to him and then compiling the interviews and everything?
Every time I do a book with a filmmaker, I start from one specific point of view. So usually it's one key movie that is important for me or for pop culture in general. So I went into the book very green, and then but I told him so, right? And because it's not that. Maybe it's important to mention that I'm not coming from a nostalgia-based approach.
Right.
You know, I'm not that kid that had a American Ninja poster in his room and always dreamed of interviewing Michael Dudikoff. But I'm more or less more fascinated with the whole subject in general, like film industry in general, but specifically the film industry in the 80s and 90s, the whole home video boom, the way the industry worked and exploded at the time, and I'm just enamored of the different characters that came out of that industry. I'm a movie fan, but I'm not specifically a Sam Firstenberg fan. I just thought this is an interesting career because this guy was around when he was very young, like most people in the early Israeli film industry. That's often the case, like when an industry is born very late, like in Australia, it's the same thing. The industry just started really in the 60s, and it was started by a very young, energetic and enthusiastic people, and who made a lot of awkward mistakes along the way, of course. I'm not trying to capture necessarily my favorite movies or filmmakers, but just trying to pick up interesting stories. And I think Sam Firstenberg had an interesting story. Just very briefly, he started in the industry under the tutelage. Is that a word?
I
of
believe so. I need the whole sentence to give you the context, but I believe the tutelage of like he had a mentor.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of Menahem Golan, and Menahem Golan was the key figure of Israeli filmmaking. So he studied film in England, and then was basically with Yoram Globus, his business partner. They were the force of the Israeli film industry, and they were basically responsible for most of the output, and those were the guys who later on went to Hollywood to purchase Cannon, and so they are key figures for the whole career of Sam Firstenberg and many others. Yeah, they had been very successful in the 70s to create the industry in Israel, and the films became bigger and bigger, and then they came to Hollywood and purchased an old company which was basically abandoned, Cannon Films. They had a catalog with some films like the Happy Hooker franchise.
Ultraman 7 knows all about this.
The Happy Hooker?
The Happy Hookers. Yeah. So, and they became this notorious company which is portrayed in many movies and documentaries, and there's a huge amount of legends and gossip around these two guys, because they were so unconventional. Yeah, that's basically Sam Firstenberg was one of the in-house directors of Cannon. Yeah, but that's it in a nutshell. I don't want to be too detailed about it, but maybe you can let me know which direction we will go.
No, I feel like that was quite detailed. Like, I think we got a nice, deep, actually much deeper history of your book and actually what led up to the, I guess, a revival of Cannon films.
Quite a lot. I mean, they have a very bad reputation. So
they do for what?
I mean, screwing people over and not paying and interfering with the director's visions, whatever that is, and put re-editing films, reshooting films, whatever. So they don't have. I mean, they have a lot of nicknames, but the most common nickname in the industry was the Bad News Jews. So,
okay.
Wow.
Wow. You said it. I didn't say that.
I said it because
did not come from this guy. Not from him.
I think they will find they found it hilarious themselves. So and they
had a formula that worked for years. Yeah, I mean, there was 6 Death Wish movies, and I watched all of them. You know, if they were making, I watched them all. I watched all the Missing in Actions. I watched them all. That's what I watched them. So they had a formula that worked. You just knew, oh, there's Death Wish in a video store. Grab it. You know, what Death Wish is? Okay, just grab it.
Speaking of this, because you mentioned about did you say getting ahead of the trends or being jumping on the trends? I think I read somewhere that one of their goals was to beat Beat Street to the market.
Yes, exactly. I think that
I did read that.
Yeah, that was the phrase during the first Breakin film. Menahem Golan was he coined the phrase, "We have to beat Beat Street." So,
wow.
I will say, people often talk about them as they were totally as it was a totally singular situation, but it actually wasn't. I mean, they operated in a way that many independent companies did at the time. So I mean, it was very common to do a poster before you do the movie, and to jump on the late on the train for whatever was hot at the moment. So they were not unique in that kind of way, but they were very unique in the way they succeeded for a while. So because their business model was very, very good, they didn't spend a lot of money, and they made tons of money with Missing in Action, with the first Break-In, with films like this. So they really managed to almost to go up into the big league of and because the studios really didn't care too much until they were very successful, you know. So I mean they were always
when you say just real quick, when you say studios, you mean the major studios?
Majors, yeah, exactly. Okay. The major studios, they didn't care too much about the success of the independent companies until home video hit really hard, you know. And then they realized there's tons of money that they really ignored at first, and they let a lot of lineage for the independents.
So if we could focus in a little bit on Breakin' 2, right? I had so you didn't see them. Obviously, you were too young to have seen the movie when it was.
Yeah, I didn't see it in the theaters. Yeah.
Okay.
And of course I watched every single thing Sam Firstenberg did in his career over the course for once he agreed to do the book, I went in and watched everything. But
okay, so you did see it.
Yeah, I knew Breakin', of course. Yeah.
So I don't know if I have a bunch of questions. I don't know if but I feel like I talked a little bit too much. So did either of you guys want to start off with your questions, or
take it away, Chuck? I know you got some questions.
My question is about Breakin' 2. Was it a conscious decision for it to go camp? Whereas, you know, the Breakin' 2 has an old Hollywood type feel to it. Whereas, you know, like almost a show tune, like the scene in the hospital where the nurses, you know, Turbo's got a broken leg. 2 hours later, they cut the cast off and everybody's dancing. That was straight out of old Hollywood. That wasn't the norm for the movies in the 80s. That was like an old Hollywood. I just wanted to know if Sam thought if it was a conscious decision to take the movie camp, or if it's just that's how it was.
Yes, I think it's exactly. I mean, one of the first things you recognize when you see a Breakin' 2 is how different it is from the first one, right? So and that's really not that unusual for the Cannon sequels, because they part of it is because they were done so quickly and in such a rush, and so that always creates a mess when at least when you are interested in consistency, you know. So
right.
And there's not really consistency, but this is also very common for a lot of films in the 80s. The Friday the 13th films also are the same. They were cranked out so quickly that consistency was not the most important thing. But yes, I think Breakin' 2 telegraphs very early on with the first big dance number on the streets,
Yeah, right. And as a kid, I always thought, why can't we spontaneously, everyone in the neighborhood, just start dancing? Wouldn't that be decent if
Yeah.
everyone in the neighborhood just all listen to the same song at the same time and we're all dancing down the street? That would be so good.
How come
Exactly.
my
Yeah.
UPS driver doesn't start breaking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the mailman was popping. You know, everybody, the bus driver, he was popping out the window. It was just like everybody, come on in, and it was just a feel. I mean, and like you said, the way they cranked it out as far, but it just felt like we're breaking two. They was like, yeah, breaking's this, but we're going here. You know, breaking's here, but we're going here. We're breaking two. Oh, you like breaking? Let wait till you see breaking two. It's gonna be a whole bunch of day glow. Everybody's dancing. You know, it was a. I mean, I just thought it was a big theatrical, almost Hollywood type feel. I almost expected to see Gene Kelly in the hospital as the doctor, popping, he's the one cutting Turbo's cast off. And oh my God, it's Gene Kelly. What is he doing? It's Fred Astaire. It's Fred Astaire there. What's going on?
Exactly.
Actually,
yeah.
Marco, what was interesting, and obviously you were too young, but I think off camera we had talked about East Coast, West Coast real quick, but all of us coming from the East Coast, we had a vision of kind of what hip hop was, being that New York is a 1 or 2 states away, and that's the Mecca.
Yeah.
So when we saw the first breaking, those were some of the early first visuals we saw of West Coast hip hop.
Yeah.
And it looked different than what we were doing because it was brighter. It was where we might have had spikes a couple years earlier. They were still wearing spike. It just seemed a little bit behind. But so it's just interesting to see that contrast. Like that was an early vision for us of what West Coast kind of hip hop was.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Was it? Did you feel it was just a little bit behind, or was there also something very unique that you didn't see before in type of did it bring something completely new to the table for you guys?
You gotta give the honest answer. Give the honest answer.
Okay, here's an honest answer from me. Early on, there wasn't that much hip hop, so whatever you got, you took. So whether it was East, West, which is kind of funny going back to the East Coast, West Coast thing, it was interesting to me because when we were younger, we heard everything. So when it got to a point where there was the East Coast, West Coast beef, it was like, I've been listening to Ice-T and Luke Skywalker and all of this. But to answer your question, I just think it was different. But it was so early with hip-hop that it was just we were happy to get anything, especially something on the big screen. We were happy to see anything. We were happy to see everything except the movie Rapping.
Yeah.
I took it as, everybody, what we were doing, we leaned where the East Coast, New York and Philly, we leaned more on the actual breaking aspect of it. Whereas in breaking, you saw it was a more locking, it was a lot more popping. I mean, they b-board or they did breakdancing as well, but it just seemed like they leaned a lot more on the actual locking and the popping aspect, because although we did that on the East Coast, it was more, we were doing windmills, or they were. I wasn't doing the windmill. I couldn't do it. We were doing. I just like Aaron said, it was just different for me. It was just like, and the way I always took it, and what I tell people now is, when people have an opinion one way or the other, it was hip hop being done 3,000 miles away. It was before the internet. It was before, you can see anything. It was before YouTube. So something that we were doing here, it wasn't like they could see it and let the average guy in Philly, North Philly, wasn't going to California to see what they were doing. I mean, and granted, we didn't have John Claude Van Damme dancing at the beach with us while there wasn't muscle bound guys behind us dancing and unitards while we were dancing, but it was just different. That's how.
Hold on.
Oh.
You seem to be forgetting the Melly Mel Pump Me Up video. Like, excuse me.
But They weren't. They were on stage. That's not what they wore. They were. But what I'm saying is, when we took the linoleum or the cardboard around, and we was downtown, or we was on the corner, there wasn't muscle bound dudes standing behind us going like this, like John Claude Van Damme. So I looked at it. It was like, wow, look at how they're doing the same thing we're doing here, but different. That's the way I took it, and I think that's what I just thought that's the way it should have been. People, the snobs or the gatekeepers, like, well, they not doing this, they not doing that. I never took it that way. I took Breakin' 2 as just, like I said, a Hollywood type movie where they're doing what we're doing, but just doing it differently.
Okay. Were you gonna say something, Aaron?
Yeah, I was just going to say, he said about linoleum. I just want to say I had linoleum in my backyard, Hollis. So
Okay. Aaron had cable. What was it? You had cable in the 70s? Like
cable in the 70s.
He had cable in the 70s. So this
I
is how
I had a
was
faucet of Captain Crunch. I didn't have no, pink vitamin. I had Captain Crunch.
Yes, he was living a whole different life than the rest of us. But I want to say that I feel like they both just gave you the answers different than what you would have gotten if you asked this question in the barbershop. Okay, so the real answer is, the true answer is, there was absolutely a polarizing discussion about this Beat Street versus Breakin'. Now, and I think Breakin' 2 is kind of over the top. But the real
I think that's not even an opinion.
The real comparison.
That's a fact. Yeah.
So definitely people seem to take sides on what was like real and what was like for people, and because we're all from the East Coast, so for us, generally speaking, Beat Street was the more real depiction of, and even if you were to say that the first Breakin' was the reality of the West Coast, then Breakin' 2 was like over there. Like, it was really over there. You know what I'm saying? So
like I said, it was an old Hollywood type of. Like I said, they just took it to another level.
It
was
like,
you like that?
It was fantastic. It was like a fantastic movie.
Yes.
Like
it's a fantasy. Yeah. For sure. And I would absolutely agree, not being an eyewitness in any way, but I don't think it matters too much. But my take was always that Breakin', for me as a film, is superior to the first one. But that's maybe a hot take, but I think the first Breakin' it's very, very much romanticized for being this authentic piece of cinema. Mm-hmm. So I have the feeling that Beat Street is by far the more authentic film if we talk about authenticity. But I think the first Breakin' is also, it's clearly also an exploitation movie. It takes this phenomenon and creates a very conventional social drama story out of it, which is fine, which is totally fine. I mean, and I don't need to be a doctor to enjoy emergency room. It's not.
I like that.
Not important how authentic every single move is for me. Of course, you take a different look when you come from the culture, but that's
right.
Which is interesting to me, because one thing that I didn't know is that both movies came out the same year.
Yes,
you wouldn't think that. You didn't notice it at first. Like, wow, yeah. 6 months after, was it 6 months later? Or
6 or 7 months. Insane.
Really?
Insane.
This is the crazy thing. Like, I was like, when I read that, I was like, how could there be such this major tone shift in that short period of time? Like, how do you have any idea of like how soon they started shooting the second when they wrapped on the first?
Yeah, immediately. Immediately they started conversations because
Okay.
because like not also not very unique to Canon, but of course Canon was keen on sequelizing everything that's possible, right? You know, what you really want to have is a good franchise that you can milk. So I think the short amount of time that went into producing the sequel. I mean, for example, they shot the sequel of Missing in Action before editing was finished. So,
Wow.
and Joe Zito, the director of the second one, was so ambitious to beat the deadline that editing for the second one was finished before the editing of the first one was finished, and then originally the second one became the first one.
Oh wow.
So it was released before. So that's kind of the
Wow.
that shows the
I did
craziness
not know that.
of the schedules, you know. So and so they really wanted to have Breakin 3 and 4 before part one was running in the cinema. So that explains maybe the tone shift in these kind of sequels, because actually the director of the sequel didn't have the time or
Okay.
or any kind of any
Reference point.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So you were on your own, and you had to do your own movie.
Okay. So yeah, so he didn't have so Sam didn't have the ability to gauge what it was that people would like about the first one to up the ante on that aspect. He just kind of went. Was that his vision, or was that the script's vision to have all this choreography and big dance numbers? And
the same is true for the script writers, you know.
Okay.
I mean, you basically had to come up with something very very fast, and usually the formula was more is more, you know. So yeah, I think Sam, I don't think, and I love Sam, and I love him as a person, and I like his film work, but I wouldn't describe Sam Firstenberg as a director with a huge creative vision.
Okay.
So Sam Firstenberg is a director who was, I think he was very very happy to be in that position, to be able to make movies. And as a very young director in his early 30s, and I think that his films benefit from that in a certain way. They have a very light tone, a playfulness to them, and not a lot of ambition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. So he got and he got lucky because he got the benefit of clearly a bigger budget, right?
Yeah.
And so he had. Did they know that they were going to have they knew they had a hit somewhere in there, and then they say, okay, let's throw more money behind the second one? Or
yes, that's for sure. That's for sure. But they were still pretty cheap, which was fine. I mean, what brought them down later on was when they started to throw money at big stars and prestigious directors. So this was still the era of Cannon where the films actually made profit. You know, they knew what they were doing, and I mean, for a director like Sam Firstenberg at this in this position, or Joe Zito, or these younger guys, they really could take a chance, right? I mean, they were doing so many movies that they couldn't control every element. I mean, shooting a film for Menahem Golan at this point was, I mean, you probably have to imagine that Golan calls you 4 times a day and yells at you.
Yeah, so he wasn't like emotionally invested in any of it or anything like that.
He wanted to give them what they were looking for. You want a big dance number? Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And so these phone calls yelling, is this how and I asked this because I was looking at one of the posters and I noticed that Susie Bono, Sonny Bono's wife, I guess at the time, is in this film, and she even has like a line credit in the poster. And I don't remember her having more than 10 lines in this movie. And was this one of those calls?
I'm not completely sure about that, and I don't want to spread fake news because because it's, I mean, it's with Cannon, with all these productions, it's a little bit like Rashomon, the Kurosawa movie, you know. It's
no, I don't know actually.
Okay. It's a classic Japanese movie, and it's about a rape scandal, and the whole plot of the movie is the king or the ruler of the place is interviewing people about what happened, and everybody tells a completely different story. So it's, and with Cannon it's always Rashomon. Yeah, you know, you don't know what you can believe. It's,
you don't know who made that call. You don't know who made the call.
I don't know, and even if I had heard it, I wouldn't take it for granted. Okay. So it's, yeah.
Hollis, speaking of Susie Bono, can you play the clip? Can we play that clip of her superior acting?
We do have this clip.
She showed depth. There was depth. You felt what she was saying.
Yes. Absolutely.
Are you going with that Kelly now?
Oh, girl, what difference does that make?
It makes a difference to me.
Well, it shouldn't. Look at that thing between us, baby. It was over a long time ago.
Well, I still love you, Ozone.
Look, Rhonda, I'm sorry.
Forget it. I don't need your sympathy, Ozone.
What do you want?
Do you know what I want? I want you to stay away from that girl!
Right?
Girls are whack.
They are. I ain't even gonna lie to you, dude.
Well, that was
the range that she showed. I mean, it was exquisite. I mean, she should have been way bigger than that. I mean, I want you to leave that girl alone. When she said that, I felt like leaving the girl I was messing with alone because that's the range that she offered there.
She should have been Kelly.
It's heartbreaking. It's like
it's heartbreaking. It's the last American Virgin last scene. That's the death that you got there. You felt it. That she wanted him to leave Kelly alone.
Yeah. Susie Bono, hold the juice.
we gotta look.
Hold the juice.
Inside joke. It's really, really interesting. You know, I would say clearly like Shabba-Doo and Boogaloo Shrimp, and I guess Kelly was primarily a dancer. She was a dancer before she was an actress, right? Like she was primarily a dancer.
She was a solid gold did Grease. She was in Grease too as a dancer, I believe, and she was a solid gold dancer, if you remember that.
Right.
She was a solid gold
Exactly.
dancer.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So it was just interesting because I feel like all the other, and so it's, you can forgive whatever skills of those guys because we know they were there to dance, you know what I mean? And acting just it just happened to, it needed to be there to make it a movie. And then Susie Bono, who ends up with this line credit over all the other actors that were in the film, So I just thought about this because you said about this call, and I know this is kind of how these things work. Like, yo, put her in the movie.
That hasn't changed. That's how people end. Like you said, that's how people end up in movies now. I mean, that same type of call or nepotism or proximity, or just happens to be there. That doesn't change. That's still what goes on there.
Exactly. There's one, even for small things. There are lots and lots of stories like this. For one Cannon movie from Menahem Golan, that Elliot Gould was the lead actor, and he created a huge mess because he wanted his whatever son, cousin, just a friend of the family to be the still photographer. And when he didn't have his way, he flew in his psychiatrist on set because it created such a mess. And I mean these are all. But these are usually these Hollywood stories of nepotism and entitlement and all kinds of wrong reasons why people end up in movies, right? I mean, that's. But I have to say, Shabba-Doo is he really brings a charisma as a lead actor.
He had that. He definitely had that. He was a face you knew. You knew Shabba-Doo. I mean, when you saw him, you knew he was authentically what he was doing. You knew that.
But what about you guys? When you saw the Breakin movies, did you already were you already familiar with the faces, and did you see the documentary Breakin and Entering, or were these guys?
I hadn't seen Breaking and Entering. I didn't see that late. I had known Shabba-Doo because he was one of the Rockets on the What's Happening episode. He was one. He even had a line. So when I saw him, I know him from somewhere. I had never seen Turbo or Boogaloo Shrimp or Michael. I had never seen him before, and I did.
Okay, good.
Okay,
you just raised because. Didn't was the Shaka Khan video before Breakin?
I think it might have been around the same time. I think. I know All Night Long by Lionel Richie. I think that was after Breakin. But I don't know if I Feel For You was at the same time as Breakin.
Because they were like both. I keep wanting to call them Turbo and Ozone, and I'm trying. I have to. Like really try to stop myself from saying that. But they were both in the in those videos. And I think maybe one of them, I think maybe I Feel For You was a little bit before Breakin' One.
Shabba-Doo, just like the Lockers and knowing, like seeing that and being young, and you would see him like Soul Train, like so you just knew that face. But the first time I saw Boogaloo Shrimp, it was like, especially in the first one, the iconic, with the broom, like, he was our guy. So it was like, oh, that was kind of so I saw Breakin and Entering later.
Yeah, I didn't see it. It wasn't while he released here. We didn't see that. Yeah. I mean, And
And
he
I
had
don't
cable in the 70s, so he would have saw it. So if anybody would have saw it, it would have been him because he had cable in the 70s.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
I
So
didn't get cable till early 80s. He had it in the 70s. So if Breaking and Entering was around like that, he would have saw it.
yeah. I didn't see Breaking and Entering at all. I actually still haven't seen it.
Oh, wow. You still haven't watched it?
No.
It's
And
pretty cool.
I'll have to check it out. But I will say that like once Breaking came out, like I absolutely wanted to be Turbo. I tried to have the haircut. I was trying to dress like him. I had the pants. And Chuck and I know each other. I don't know if he remembers this, but like Chuck and I know he remembers we went to grade school together. Like I've known him, we were like little kids, And so during these times, like during these grade school years, I was absolutely trying to be Turbo. Absolutely. This was even with B Street and all that, and I like no Turbo,
Mhm.
And
Because it was just so cool. Because, B Street had all of them characters and all that. But Turbo and Ozone, they were just cool. It was just like, especially Turbo, he just went with the flow. Nothing really bothered him and everything. He was just cool. So I can see how I was wanting to be Turbo.
And as we wind it down, I think we need to take a look at, speaking of Michael Chambers, we need to see his action scene from the movie, like, because people think of him as a dancer, right? They don't know. They don't know.
That he was John McClane. That he was John McClane.
What? You know what I mean? Like, listen. So we have to see this action scene from Michael Chambers. Like,
Go ahead.
Okay, here we go. And look at this chameleon, like he was able to change himself as he came down the steps.
Now the average person is not able to make their hair get shorter as they fall down a flight of steps. Now see, you can't really teach that. You have to either have it or not.
People just don't know. Like and then he was like the way he emoted, I think we talked over it a little bit, but the way he emoted when he hit that final step.
And you had to know that he felt pain. And he had and the director got that out of him. So what you understand, you're gonna hit the ground, but I need you to let everyone know that you hit the ground and that you're hurt. That's something that you can't teach. It's something you can't.
Absolutely. This is a testament to the directing skills of Sam Firstenberg. Like, you know what I mean? He knew he was capable of that. They wouldn't have even tried this in Breaking One. They're like,
I have a feeling that while they was shooting it, and after the first take, he said, "Cut! No. I need you to give me more emotion as you tumble down that flight of steps."
And another thing I wanted to ask you, what did you think of the soundtrack of the film, the actual music that we hear in the film? Is the soundtrack LP something that you would have listened to as well? So or was that very separated from was it? Yeah.
Well, Then
Dada was hip hop, but I Believe in the Beat wasn't that wasn't hip hop. It was a good song, 90, like in the first movie, 99 and a half. I mean, those songs were more R&B popish, and I think that was, and in those days, selling the soundtrack, that's what you wanted to do. So I mean, hip hop wasn't as, or if they were to do that now, every song would be a hip hop, 10 song. Whereas back then they were still trying to get on the pop chart. So there wasn't Then Dada, but I Believe in the Beat was the bigger song.
You think?
But them, I would think.
It's funny. The first Breakin', the soundtrack was very influential on me because Ice-T had the song "Reckless" with Chris the Glove, and even the second album, the Ice-T song. I remember that song, but a lot of the other, like you said, Dindada, but a lot of the other stuff, it was too. They didn't really focus, being that it was a hip hop movie. They didn't really put a lot of hip hop into it.
Ali and Jerry were not hip hop. Ali and Jerry were not hip hop. So I mean, and like you said, with Reckless, I've spoken to Chrissy Blunt before, and I told that was the first record that I bought with my own money. Reckless, the 12-inch. That was the first record that money that I had earned. My little part-time job. I forget what I did, but that was the first That was the first record that I had bought with my own money, was Reckless, the 12-inch.
Yeah, I mean, you have to take into account the first. I don't even think you could even compare that soundtrack, the two soundtrack to one's. But and I don't know if everything that was in the movie was on the soundtrack, but like you have to remember, in one you had this Al Jarreau song in there, you had Shaka Khan in there, you had like the two Ain't No Stopping Us was a hit. I liked I actually like the song from the end of one, the Street People 99 and a half. Like to me, but it to me, I think I'm gonna go with the first one all day, like with the music as well. And was it Tour de France or
that was when he did the broom. That was Tour de France.
Yeah, so
that was Tour de France. Yeah,
it was just like, but once again, I would put that on. They, 6 months later, when they're doing it, when they're putting it all together, like I think they probably didn't, unless you know something that I don't, Marco. I don't know if they put so much energy behind making that soundtrack as they did on the first one, outside of Dindada. I look at it now and I don't.
There we go.
I think Hollis is frozen.
Am I back?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. But this is what I was saying was that the version of me seeing it was 13 years old, and so I got a whole. I'm immersed in this culture much deeper.
It's the recording thing again, probably after a while.
All right, now okay, something is telling me. Let me close some windows just in case that's the problem. Okay, am I back?
Yeah, you good.
All right, it's telling me to shut up.
Well, I would just say this before it gets too crazy. At least if we have a outro or close, you know what I mean. So it just doesn't. If it goes off the rails.
Yeah.
I hope it's. I hope I could. Yeah, it's all. It's. I mean, I'm used to do these interviews in English, but I can correct them afterwards. So it's. I'm not.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, no, you were fine. You were fine.
Okay.
Yeah, your English is definitely better than all our German. So like
combine.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. So
count to 10.
I barely got B1. So like this, I'm not. So I think you express yourself very well. Everything went well.
Yeah, so I will definitely take a look at your stuff, guys. I will. Thanks a lot for inviting me. It was great fun.
We appreciate you coming on. It was great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being our first guest and hanging out with us. I didn't know if we would be going this long, but it's good.
Yes.
It's good. Yes, definitely. Cool. It's definitely informative. I got like this this history lesson kind of that you gave at the beginning. I had no idea about. I was only learning about it because I knew I was talking to you. But even you were talking about things that is like definitely deeper than what I was discovering. So
I'm up to talking about any movies anytime. Just call me if you want to.
Nice.
All righty.
Thank you very
Okay.
much.
All right.